Hi guys, I'm here to read chapter 7 of Clementine for you. Before I did that, I just wanted to dive in and just re-look at what happened in chapter 6. This was the first chapter that Margaret and Clementine disagreed on something, and they kind of had an argument. And then it ended with Clementine helping her dad and having wild ideas like she usually does, right? So I'm going to go ahead and start chapter 7. As I start chapter 7, I want you to continue thinking about how Clementine changes. Okay? So here's the picture right before the chapter. I knew Friday was going to be a bad day right from the beginning because there were clear parts in my eggs. I can't eat eggs if there are clear parts, I reminded my mother. Eat around them, she said. Eat the yellow parts and the white parts. But I couldn't because the clear parts had touched the yellow parts and the white parts. So all I had was toast. Have you got all your stuff? My dad asked as I was leaving. Of course, I said, right in my backpack. But when I went to show him my homework, 3 sentences about planet Saturn, which I had decorated with a picture from the squirrels I'd seen in the park, it wasn't there. Better go check the black hole, he said. I gave my dad a that's not so funny look, but I went back into my room to check. The black hole is what my dad calls the place under my bed. He says things mysteriously disappear under there. I don't think that fathers should be comedians, which are like funny people. My homework paper wasn't under my bed, and the rest of the day got worse. On the bus, Margaret walked right past our usual seat and sat down next to Amanda Lee, even though all Amanda Lee can talk about is going to the mall, which is boring. Plus, anyone with a name as beautiful as Amanda Lee probably made it up. Then, as soon as I got to school, the teacher said, the following students are excused from recess so they can catch up their journal writing. And I was one of the following students. 3 times during journal writing, the teacher said, Clementine, you need to pay attention. And every time he said it, I was paying attention. I was paying attention out the window where the 4th graders were playing pickle in the middle. Whenever the ball came anywhere near Margaret and Amanda Lee, they grabbed each other and shrieked like they were being murdered, which everyone knows means, we're best friends. When my teacher moved my seat away from the window, I was glad glad, and I wrote all over my journal page, I don't care, so hard my pencil broke. When I got home from school, I was planning to go straight to my room to draw a picture of me with a new best friend, but my dad was putting on his raincoat and it was not raining out. Fighting pigeons is not for the weak-hearted, he said. It takes superhuman courage and resourcefulness and cleverness. When my dad talks like this, it means he has a new idea. You have another battle plan? I asked. Yep, he answered. And it's a doozy. I'll probably be promoted to general for this one. You already are the general, remember? Oh, right. I'm so modest I sometimes forget. Well, I bet I'll get the Medal of Honor. Dad, I might even be knighted for this one. Dad, I said. Sometimes my dad needs help staying serious. So what is the new battle plan? My dad looked around like he thought there might have been spies sneaking up on us. Then he bent over and whispered in my ear, psychological welfare. There's the picture of her notebook. She's writing, I don't care. This sounded like a good one, so I followed him out and sat on the steps to watch. I could do that drawing later. First, my dad hosed off the sidewalk, then sprayed the pigeons until they flew away. All the time he was muttering things like, "Oh, they're crafty all right, but I'm craftier." And it's a little known fact that pigeons were the 8th deadly plague to visit Egypt. Then he pulled a brown plastic owl from a bag. He got a ladder and climbed up and put the owl right on top of the lion's head over the lobby door. I asked him what that was for. "The pigeons will take one look at this owl, and then they'll head for the hills. Well, for another building. Pigeons are deathly afraid of owls. Yep, I'll probably be knighted." "It's plastic," I reminded him. "But the pigeons don't know that. That's the brilliance of the plan." I didn't see what was so brilliant. I didn't see how a little plastic owl was going to frighten off a flock of pigeons who fought over who would get to sit on the head of the roaring lion. And while we stood there, Dad admiring his brilliant battle plan and me worrying about it, the pigeons came back. They settled on their regular perches all over the front of our building, except for a few who decided to sit on the owl's head. What my dad needed was something real. Polka Dotty would have scared them off. Remember, that was her cat. Dad put the ladder and his raincoat away and came over and sat beside me. "You still miss her, don't you, sport?" I nodded. "I miss seeing her when I got home from school. I miss patting her where her fur was soft under her neck. I miss hearing her purr when I fell asleep. I even miss the smell of her cat food." Here's Clementine and Dad talking on the step with the pigeons everywhere. See the owl up here? "That's a lot of missing," my dad said. "And she would have scared off those pigeons, wouldn't she?" "Absolutely. That was one terrifying cat." "Dad, she would have been terrifying to pigeons," I said. And then I had one of the most astounding ideas of my whole career. Will you just stop for a second and predict what is her brilliant idea she's about to come out with? I jumped up and gave my dad a kiss right where his beard stops being crunchy. Then I ran back into the apartment, went to my bedroom, and reached under the mattress where I kept my favorite picture of Polka. Then I ran to the copy shop at the corner. "Can you make this bigger?" I asked. "How big do you want it?" the clerk asked. I took out my wallet and laid out all my birthday money on the counter. "How big can you make it for this much?" The clerk counted my money and thought for a minute. "I can make the cat the size of a German shepherd for that much money." "Perfect." Then he took the money and the picture of Polka and told me to come back the next day at 4. I ran home and let myself into the apartment. My mom and dad were in the kitchen. "One left," my dad said. "One's all we need," said my mom. "Do you think we should do it?" "I think so," my dad answered. "I think it's time." "Okay," my mom said. "I'll call tomorrow." One's all we need? I slammed the door behind me so they would know that I was there. If they were talking about getting rid of me so they'd only have one kid, the easy one, I wanted them to stop. Now that I was worried, they probably weren't even talking about me anyway. "Shh," my dad said. "She's home." "Okay, fine. I'm worried." Here's her listening. And guys, that is the end of chapter 7. So this would be a great place to stop and predict what do you think is going to happen next? What were mom and dad just talking about that they didn't want Clementine to hear? Are they really going to get rid of her so that they have one easy child? Another thing you can do at the end of this chapter is just recap what just happened, what were the big things, and then also think about Clementine as a person. What kind of person is she right now? Is she changing? Is she still the same as before? Those are some things that you can think about right now as you as we stop here. And then these are also some things that you can do anytime that you're reading when you finish a chapter or a section of your book.